Hello, we're back
Again,
again. Round 1B is in the books.
thank goodness,
You can say that again. Yeah, that was rough.
for a lot of teams.
Yeah. Uh, us notoriously Cowboys fans, I have thoughts. We will hear those thoughts at some point. But I guess we should start from the beginning of round 1B, where the Roosters, for lack of a better term, were absolutely curb stomped by the Brisbane Broncos.
They were horrendous.
Yeah, they weren't good.
They didn't get a lot of help when Radley went off injured. That did not help them one iota.
Yeah.
And he probably won't be back this week because he was a Category 1 head knock. So,
Yeah. I guess we can go the Roosters first because there's few bright spots to talk about. Robert Toyer looks great.
yes.
He was really good. I know the raps of him coming out of like Roosters training and stuff is that he was toweling up Joey Manu, and we've seen that ceiling now, which is at least promising for the Roosters.
Well, he was the only bright spark at all.
Yeah, there's not much.
No.
Connor Watson was Connor Watson, I guess. Nafatu White was okay.
And we would like to thank you for taking Chad Townsend off our hand, just saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But outside that, oh, that was ugly. It's just they just look a step behind everybody
Well,
right
Second
now.
yeah.
place, Roosters.
They're going to finish in second place, right?
They're probably going to finish second last, which is probably closer to where they finished.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they will improve, I think, when they get their actual halves back the way they should be. But
it's a matter of who you put at six. Do you put Townsend or Smith at the six when Walker comes back? I would put Sandon
I would think that he's more a six than Townsend.
Exactly. Walker still has the kicking game that you can use, and Sandon Smith's a decent running half because he's
Yeah.
by trade, I think, a number
I think
9.
he's a nine.
So he'll have a decent running game. He has a somewhat good kicking game, and his defense is good. So I would put him there.
Yeah. I think they improved, but how much? Not enough to get them finals, I don't think. Not now. I did put them for sixth in our really, really ridiculously early tips. Yes, because now we know that that's probably not going to be the case.
I will say the Roosters did lose by a lot, but it wasn't for lack of trying. They didn't stop.
No.
They kept playing football throughout the entire game. They were just a step behind what Brisbane were.
Brisbane are looking pretty schmick at the moment. So how long that lasts? Can it last for as long as we need it, that they need it to?
That's always been the question when it comes to Michael Maguire coach teams is how sustainable is their style of play?
Yeah.
Because it'll look great right now. But once, like, especially with increased workload, how well's Pat Carrigan going to hold up? How well is Payne Haas going to hold up? Adam Reynolds as well. This very high-paced style of very physical football can be very detrimental to some of the older players and some of the players that already have exceedingly high work rates.
And look, there's always the case of injuries and stuff. What happens if one or two of them go down? Do they have next man up like Penrith do?
I think they'd be fine with the forwards. I think if Reece Walsh goes down, they have an issue because they don't have Tristan Ford.
No,
Their
he's
backup
playing
at that-
Super League now.
I think their backup at this point is Hayes Perham, which is could be worse, but it's not.
He's a winger at best, though.
What was last year?
He was no, he was on the Bulldogs. He was on the Eels before, that's right. But Brisbane look really good.
They look good at the moment, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a Brisbane fan by any stretch, but they look.
They played like the worst team.
During the preseason, when the rumours started that he was going to move Pat Carrigan to prop, I didn't like it. I thought that he was much better as like the ball playing 13. Master stroke. He looks great in the middle. I look really like
I think Pat Carrigan's got the mindset that he'll just go wherever he's needed, and that's a good mindset.
To his credit, Kobe Hetherington filled those shoes fairly well. I was actually quite impressed with him as I was watching the game.
Yeah, he's not bad. He has a few moments in him sometimes, but he's not a bad football player. So
Another play to highlight. Corey Cates hasn't started a game in 5 years. He came in and looked phenomenal. His service out of dummy half was great. His defense was good. They've got a really good crew to possibly make a decent finals push this year.
Look, they may well. I mean, I tipped them in the early one for 8. They might go a little higher than that, I'd suggest.
Yeah,
But once again, it comes down to attrition, right? If they can hold it out for the full 27 rounds, 24 and 3 buys, but, if they can do that, what happens around origin time? Do they fall to the floor at that point? Because if
What's
they're that good, they lose a fair number of players.
You'd say there's only two people in that side that are guaranteed to be picked for Origin, and that's Haas and Carrigan, the two front rowers. I don't think Reece Walsh is guaranteed because Kalen Pong has been playing really well.
Yes, that.
Ezra Mam's not there. There's
Ben Hunt may well.
Oh yeah, I guess probably Ben Hunt.
Yeah.
Maybe those are the three. And it's just like,
a New South Wales right?
yeah, but he's not going to play. They have three now, I reckon.
Yes.
Or maybe two. More.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brisbane look really good. I'll give them the full credit for running up the score. However, don't expect this every week, simply because there are a few tries in there that wouldn't have happened 99 times out of 100. Some of them were stupid, for lack of a better term.
And look, they'll come up against better teams than the Roosters, and they're not going to score 50 every week.
So not all of them are going to have a forward pack that's as depleted as the Roosters.
No, they're just running on empty already, and the season's only just started, unfortunately.
Although, I guess you can... Robinson has this propensity for his teams to start slow and then sort of work into the season. It's a matter of whether he has the capital for the team to do that this year. I don't know whether he does.
I guess we'll see, won't we? That's yet to be seen.
Do we think that Robinson's under pressure?
Not as yet. I think.
No.
Look, he's had too many years where he's had success with his team, so it would take a couple of years, I think, for non-success for that.
Okay. My counter argument is all the success that's happened in recent history for the Roosters has come because of Cooper Cronk, not Trent Robinson. And we've seen this the past few years. They can't beat the best teams. They
They're
can't
still making the top. They've been regularly making the top four, even without Cooper Cronk.
Yes, but you would expect for a team that so consistently makes the top eight and more than likely than not the top four, you'd expect some sort of success beyond losing in the prelim final. So I think there is a question as to whether he can get it done at the highest level. Because for as much as he did it in, I think, what was it, 2013? That's 12 years ago now. That's a long time in rugby league. Look, if he gets the team revved up, all credit to him. I just think that he's been an average coach with a really good roster for the past long time.
I guess we'll see. I mean, yeah. I hope for like the NRL state that the Roosters don't fall through the floor because they've been a stalwart since the start.
Well,
and like South Sydney, right? They fell through the floor and disappeared for a couple of years, and then they were brought back into the league. You don't want that to happen to another club.
No, not at all.
So, but anyway, we'll see what happens. I think
I don't
think he's under the pump yet.
Yeah, okay.
If he has 4 or 5 or 6 weeks that look kind of similar, then he might start feeling a bit of pressure. Yeah.
I think the Roosters are going to finish second.
I think there's a couple other coaches who might be more under pressure than him.
Yeah, we'll get to them later today, I reckon. Moving on, Tigers Knights.
Very tough.
Boring.
I'm going to use the term offensively challenged to describe this game.
Boring.
For the amount of ball that Newcastle had, they should have scored 40 points. Their attack was so clunky, and to the Tigers' credit, their defense was quite good. I really liked seeing, for as much as you look at the stat sheet and they missed 50-something tackles, but their scramble defense was really good. And that's something you didn't see last year. So that's good signs. And, especially when you get, the Abacarshows and the Dream Bullers back, and you'll get a few more points out of it, and as combinations grow.
Look, I'm looking at the percent of getting the Knights. The Knights were pretty average, to be fair.
I think it was a fairly...
I don't know what happened to the Knights this week from the preliminary games.
My reasoning they play for Roosters.
I guess that's a fair argument. I don't have a lot to comment on. I didn't really...
You got 5 Dally M points. Yeah. Don't know why. I guess you're just looking at... I guess it's people who don't actually watch the games and look at it and say, oh, well, Newcastle won the tight game. Caleb Ponga must have done good things. Let's give him all the points. I don't think he deserved...
Look, he wasn't horrible, but he wasn't great.
No one in that game was great. Besides Terrell May, he's excellent. He's my early candidate for what's going to be signing of the year. You can take your Jerome Luais and your Ben Hunts and stuff. He's the most important player on that Tigers team right now. Because if he goes down... Their middle forwards are dusted because they've got what? Fonua Pole, who's good. You've got Alex Twal, who doesn't offer much besides being a good defender. They lose and offload, like a really strong offloading game with Terrell May out.
And he's a strong runner.
And he's a strong runner. And his tackling is great. He's
Yeah.
like the perfect forward. And you know a team that could use him, the Roosters, funnily enough. We always talk about how like the Tigers and the Eels and the Cowboys have never been good with recruitment and retention when it comes to their like younger players. This is going to go down as one of the biggest blunders a team has ever had with the Roosters releasing Terrell May. I do not understand it.
No. They will rue it, I think. They're already doing it, I imagine. But yeah.
Well, we've moved on for the Roosters.
Playing at home.
So Knights, Tigers, pretty boring. Knights get the chocolates, but wouldn't be jumping up and down about it too much.
I'm still not fully sold on Fletcher Sharp at the 6.
What's the old saying goes? As a 5'8", he makes a pretty good winger.
They have some really strange attacking shapes that they're using because they're playing Ponga at, like, he's named at fullback, but he's playing first receiver a lot of the plays that they have. It's just really strange because a lot of the success they have in attack is when they do these long sweeping plays, when you're going out to the both edges and you can go through either Dylan Lucas or Kai Pearce-Paul and Dane Gagai and all of these guys that are really good. And Ponga facilitates all of that. If he's running through the middle of the field, you don't get that threat.
He was going for the middle a bit.
Exactly. It's strange from Adam O'Brien. And it's going back to this really conservative attack that I said last week was going to be the death of them this year. If they keep doing this, it's not going to work.
No, other teams will run over pretty quick.
Exactly. Because all they need to do is just bunch the defensive line and just pressure Kalen Ponga into making a bad pass. And
Well, enough said about that game because
there's not much to talk about. Yeah, Terrell May's good, and that's about it. Finns Bunnies.
Another game that, was
fine.
80 minutes that you won't get back.
Certainly one of the games of our time, that one was. Well, I guess you can say that for the Bunnies, Wayne Mark II starts with a win, which is positive, I guess.
It's like Wayne Mark IV.
At the Rabbits?
He's only been
He's only coached the Rabbits twice. No. Rabbits Part 2.
He's done the Broncos twice, he's done the Rabbits twice.
I guess the positive you can take is that this is the sort of game that they would have lost last year. This sort of gritty, grinding, very defensively minded game. But it suited them because Latrell is out becoming.
But I'm not sold on them because remember, 3 of the top line Dolphins didn't even make the trip.
Yes, and you can absolutely say that, but you can also.
I think Nicarima makes a big difference on that side. I think the Dolphins win if he's there.
I agree. Because the Dolphins just start. Isaiah Katoa's decision making is baffling to me. I don't get it. Who's the case? Tom Gilbert's the captain, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to highlight this. 2 minutes left, right? The Dolphins get a really good run from, I think it's Herbie Farmworth on the right side to get in range for a 2-point field goal. And Jermaine Zacha's just sitting on the wing. He doesn't run towards them because he's the only one on that team that can kick one. He can kick them from 60. I don't know how you get a big run from Herbie Farmworth and think, okay, we need 2 points. Let's take a 2-point field goal. And Isaiah Katoa puts up a bomb. I don't get it. That really, really confused me.
I'm pretty sure that Christian Wolf will be addressing
He'll be into him immediately about that.
But once again, this is another game that didn't really rise to anything amazing, and which is expected with the cattle that weren't actually on the field. So,
positives for the Rabbits. Jai Gray is going to be able to hold down the fort while Latrell's out. And Jamie Humphreys, what a player. He looks so good. I can't, because you can typically judge how a player's going to go based on how, like when they move, how the fan base they're moving from reacts. Manly were pissed that they lost Jamie Humphreys, and now we see why. Because he's spoilers for the team list, he's ousted Lewis Dodd. Lewis Dodd's in the emergencies right now. Humphreys has the starting 7 job, and for good reason. He tickles really well. His passing's great because he's a hooker by trade. And he's really good. I'm very impressed with him. And he's a good foundation for South to build on this year, I reckon. It's a lot of money to have Lewis Dodd sitting in the emergencies, but you put your best players out there. Wayne Bennett's not afraid to do that.
Moving on. Dragons Doggies.
The best game of the round by far.
Even close.
What a great game this was.
The Sharks Panthers over in Vegas.
No, this is round 1B. We did that last week.
Yeah, we talked about that one last
Dragons Doggies, great game. Just really, really quick football. The first half was played at a frenetic pace. It was so good to watch.
And good on the Dragons because they actually went down 28-10 at one point. And I thought, oh dear, the Bulldogs are going to just put a score on them. But the Dragons held on and held tough and came back. And with a bit of luck, could have even got closer. So I think both fan bases should be pretty happy with that particular game.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Dragons should lose any admirers, even though they got beaten.
No, I wouldn't at all.
Yeah.
Valentine played very, very well. All their signings look good. Glenn Gutherson looks good. The combination of Cook and Little looks like it's working well. And Valentine Holmes was good. I guess negative, I mean, they lost, obviously. And Ryan Couchman tearing his ACL sucks. It's awful. I guess maybe they can supplement that with what seems to be the imminent arrival of David Clemmer, but it's like you're trading a 22-year-old middle forward for a
32-year-old.
Yeah. So
Clemmer is good, is solid without doing anything particularly great.
Tigers fans didn't seem to be overly sad that they lost him, to be fair. But, I want to highlight the opening carry of the game where I think it's Emre Gula runs up, takes a hit up, and makes an error. And the Bulldogs celebrate like they've won the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following set, when the Bulldogs...
Well, these two...
So good.
These two have a rivalry that goes back a long way. And it's great. And they always produce good games. And I'm glad that they produced another good one because the rest of the round, apart from maybe the games in Vegas, the rest of the round was pretty ordinary. Yeah, so that was really, really good.
I guess... Well, we're talking about signings from the Dragons side. We'll talk about the Bulldogs. Sitili Tupanua looks great. I think he suits that team very, very well.
Well, they bought very well.
Oh, yeah.
They've recruited some good players, and they haven't. Yeah, both teams have, but we're actually talking about the Dogs right now. So Tupanua he's the full footballer, right? He's fast, he's big, he's strong, he's got ball playing.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Great signing. I really enjoyed this game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a very good game.
Yeah.
It's good to actually have a good game in round one. It doesn't happen very often because everyone's rusty.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully.
But also, other things don't happen, which we'll be talking about very shortly.
Hopefully, in terms of rust, the Cowboys are only rusty and not terrible. Yikes. Manly Cowboys.
It was over after 25 minutes.
It was over after 15 when they were up 18-0. Just
once they had 24-0 before halftime, it was like, yeah.
This is like, I said this with my preseason predictions that I did. These two teams are exactly what I said they were going to be. Manly, expensive, attacking, lots of points. The forward pack will do enough. Cowboys, offensively inconsistent, defensively terrible. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they didn't have the worst defensive stats for the weekend.
No, but I would argue that you look at what the Roosters have this year is that it's a bunch of injuries, so much turnover in that roster. They can be bad. That makes sense.
You know what really killed them? 6 straight penalties. The Manly team got 6, and they were warranted, which was the sad part because you see the Cowboys play, and you know they've got good attack when they want to. When they put it together,
they're great to watch. Absolutely.
On the league, but
it doesn't happen.
I mean, you saw Drinkwater. You see what he can do when he turns his game on, right? He went line break, broke about 3 tackles, scores a try under the sticks. Yeah. It just shows they can actually
do it, but it doesn't happen.
They cannot start this way every game. The Sharks, if they do, the Sharks will put a cricket score on them.
I think they're going this way.
Well, we'll see. But if they start the same way they did against Manly, it's going to be a pretty scary ride for them, and they need to really have some soul searching because that was horrendous. And as I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, but you don't want to see that happening to your team.
Round ever.
Yeah, even that's the bonus is, according to the rule, they can still win the grand final. Yeah, we don't count the preseason.
Yeah. I guess I'll talk about Manly first because I have lots of thoughts about the Cowboys that I'll go into. Manly first. DCE. Hurry up and age, man. What is going on? Father Time is supposed to be undefeated. This guy's 35.
You're not Benjamin Button.
He's
Stop.
playing like he's 25 years old. I don't understand it. He is one of the best sevens in the competition. It's ridiculous. Tom Trebojevic.
Him and Tom were the difference. Tom, trust me, yeah, I watched the whole game, unfortunately, and was able to see what they were. Tom, he was running with spiders on him, man. Nobody would touch him.
Well, that's just how he plays against the Cowboys, unfortunately. You watch every single game he's played against the Cowboys. He has 10 tackle breaks nearly every time.
You know what I mean, man? Ruben Garrick being a
Okay, yeah.
little girl.
Whatever.
He was a little girl. Complaining about everything.
Counter
Nothing was wrong.
argument. Jordan McLean does the exact same thing.
I don't think he does it when a guy's arms here got Ruben Garrick going.
You see Jordan McLean every single time he gets up from a tackle, he will appeal to the chachi, he'll appeal to the main referee about something that no one else sees that's gone wrong in that tackle. I'm ranting now. Scott Drinkwater. Where is the defense? Why is your defense so bad? Your organizing defense is bad. Jackson Purdue, I love you. You're not a center. Tom Dearden, where's the best defensive 5'8" in the competition gone? I know you were marked up against Ola Kawatu, but still, missing 6 tackles is unacceptable. Tom Duffy, I'm not going to fault because it's his first game in the NRL.
Yeah, he's played football long enough to not kick out on the full.
Poor. I will agree with that. However, a halfback can only do as well as the forward pack. And good grief, this forward pack is terrible. It is so poor. Jordan McLean is old and slow. Sam McIntyre is good, luckily, because no one else is. Bateman's old and slow. Nanai had more missed tackles than runs. Ruben Cotter's defense was bad, and Reece Robson was terrible. That's how you know this team is bad.
Everyone else was good.
It's just
Really having fun.
Was fine.
there is something systemically wrong at this team, and whether it's Todd Payton, whether it's Justin Morgan, whether it's the actual higher ups about this team that are pissing people off,
It's just the players.
something is wrong, and it needs to be fixed quickly. Otherwise, this season is going to be a disaster.
My fear is something the Cowboys have done in the past.
It's time to get rid of coaches.
Yes. And
Yeah.
my fear is that doesn't take into consideration fans. Now, I don't care if you don't like your coach. You've got fans there who pay good money to go and watch you play. Suck it up, princess, and just play for your fans. You might not like your coach. I don't give a rip. Right? We all hate our bosses. That's how life works. Right? Get out there and do your job that the punters pay you to do, basically.
I think the most egregious example of doing that is with Neil Henry.
Absolutely.
James Maloney.
No,
He did something. No.
Well, he was like 0.00.
And the Cowboys fired. The Cowboys fired.
Yeah, the Cowboys fired him. That wasn't to do with their playing.
No, that wasn't. No, because he was fine.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I can say about Tom Dearden. James Maloney is going to be arguably the biggest loss the Cowboys had in the offseason. Because
He was lost before.
for this year, because he was so helpful to Tom Dearden. You watched Tom Dearden's pass selection this game. It was poor. He always picked the wrong option.
Who is their attacking coach now?
It's Steve someone. I don't remember. It was just whoever the understudy of James Maloney was last year. And they don't have anyone. Unless you want to chuck Mitch Dunn as your offensive coach, which wouldn't work at all. I don't.
Jonathan Thurston.
Something's wrong here. And I guess we'll be there Saturday to watch the game. We'll get a better idea of what's going on there.
Or we just leave early because we've already been.
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
We're not going to do that.
It's been paid for. We're going to go watch it. How bad they are doesn't matter.
Also, strip Tom Dearden of the co-captaincy. Get it. He's not co-captaincy material. I'm sorry. I love him as a player. He just doesn't have the leadership, I don't think, yet.
Ruben Cotter does.
Ruben Cotter's fine. I like him. He actually talks. Tom Dearden talks about as much as a ballpoint pen. I don't get it. It's just
They've swapped a non-talking captain with a non-talking captain because Cavalolo was the same. Yeah. If they're going to give it to a person who talks, it should be Scott Drinkwater. Yeah.
But that's a terrible idea because as soon as he goes bad, he gets tetchy, and then the whole team will go poorly. So maybe it's just solo captain Ruben Cotter.
Yeah, I guess that's
Or maybe co-captain like Jordan McLean.
because he will still talk. Yeah.
Not necessarily. So Tom Gilbert's the sole captain. Oh, Tom Gilbert and Felice Kaufusi are the captains of the Dolphins. They're both forwards. So yeah, something needs to change within the leadership group and the coaching staff because otherwise the Cowboys are bottom 4 this year. And for as much as I said they were going to be poor, it wasn't. I didn't think it would be this bad.
Well, if they show an improvement this week, which they probably
Against
need
a
to,
better team with a better forward pack.
but here's the deal. I have Manly making the top 4.
I know you have met. You also have Cronulla making the
Yes, I do. So how much better are they?
Rich is making the top 4.
Yeah, well, that was a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, look, if we see more effort, and I think the inclusion of O'Donnell will be something because at least he tackles. We know this,
and
which is more than what Nane did last week.
I'll be watching him like a hawk this week because Todd Payton in his press conference after the team was released said that Nana needs to work on his defense, which is why he's sitting in tube up, and Kai O'Donnell tackles well and will quote die playing for his teammates. If he doesn't play with the vim and vigor that I'm expecting, then you know something's wrong because he's not trying.
Yeah, and he's a footballer.
He's a local boy as well.
So just trying to cope with the fact that we're going to get fired this year.
I think he probably will.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't like to preempt stuff like that because it's not nice to think about.
Todd Payton, you are a Sydney Rooster.
I don't know what's going to happen. Sorry, guys, we're ranting a little bit. The Cowboys are out.
I'm
We are disappointed about how they performed, and unless they show some improvements this weekend, we'll know whether their attitude has changed within the first 10 minutes of the game.
The only thing I can say is that the Cowboys, I don't think have ever won a round 1 game in Sydney. It's never happened.
I don't think it is.
So, hopefully, they're playing up here this week. If even a little bit of improvement exists, I will be okay. If they play at the same level, something's got to give. Heads will roll.
Happen if they just don't show any improvement, like they're just out there because they have to be, which kind of looked like that last week.
Looked like it for the majority of players.
Yeah. Then yes, something needs to change because if nothing changes, guess what?
Nothing changes. Yep.
So they need to do something. Anyway, let's move on. We've ranted enough.
One blowout to another. Melbourne just completely massacring the Parramatta Eels. What a first half. I mean, good grief.
Yeah, and then in the second half, they just took out their team off.
Took out the team off, and they technically lost the second half. Yeah. No one's thinking that Parramatta are any decent because of it.
No, they were blown off the park.
Oh yeah,
Ackenhausen was a machine.
If he's healthy and plays like that the whole year, this team isn't going to lose a game. They might be the first team to go undefeated.
They look so good.
They look
and terrifying. They still have Nash to come back. So I mean,
and even when Origin comes around, who are they going to lose? Like really, who are they going to lose? It'll be Harry Grant, which they can replace with Tyron Lewis-Sharp.
He'll probably
with how Tom Dearden is playing,
unless Tom Dearden shows some improvement over the next few weeks, Munster may well get a go, or they could,
But and who else? Maybe Stefano. He'd be the only. Oh, Xavier Coates probably. But they can chuck Far Longo on the wings. Yeah. Maybe, yeah. It's maybe Stefano. But they've got the bench forwards. The Lazarus Varlepu guy looks awesome. This team is going to be very difficult to stop.
Yeah.
They have a bye this week as well, so we don't even get to see them. I don't know what their round 3 match is off the top of my head. If it's anyone less than Penrith or Cronulla, it's an automatic win. I don't see any other team beating them.
But I don't see Brisbane as good as they are beating them. I think they've got Brisbane's measure pretty comfortably.
That'd be a great game when they do.
Would be, but I do believe that Melbourne will take them.
Parramatta. What do you do?
Bad.
What do you do?
My tip for the Spoons.
I feel so bad for Jason
That's
Riles.
a dragon.
He has inherited possibly the worst squad situation anyone has ever had. And now
Mitchell Moses being injured.
Mitchell Moses is hurt. Dylan Brown doesn't want to be there now. So it's just Kelvin Tuolangi is bad. Jermaine Hopgood is going to have to carry this forward pack by himself. And Jake Tungo is...
Tennessee is okay.
Tennessee is good.
Yeah.
Sure.
When Hopgood comes around, Hopgood may be gone.
I thought Iongi did fine
He was fine.
with how badly Parramatta got whacked. I didn't think most of it was his fault. But you just have to sit and think, what do you do?
Once again, it's kind of like the case of the Broncos beating the Roosters. I don't think Melbourne win by 50 every week, right? But I still think they have the team to win pretty much games.
My difference with that is that the Broncos tries that were scored, some of them were very, very strange and wouldn't have come off most of the time. All of Melbourne's stuff was very repeatable. It was just good, solid shapes. It could have been more. Ryan Pappenhausen bombed a certain try by not passing.
All hogs. I think it was Cam Munster ran over the line going. Easy.
Way more if they decided to just play everybody for 80 minutes. We could have been looking at a record score.
But the Cowboys can keep theirs for the time being.
But yeah, so round one, a little underwhelming. One good game, a couple of tight defensive fairs, and a bunch of blowouts. The
Vegas games, you've got one other good game there. That's blowout. So 2 good games out of 8 is not enough.
It seems like this year is the top 5 against everybody else. And
a little bit against. It's the top 5.
It's such a clean off that you don't see very often. So I guess we'll see if some teams...
It's almost turning into like St. George of the 50s and 60s, right? These top teams are now pulling away, even with salary cap, right? That's not... It's going to get to the point where it's not working again, and they're going to...
Then what do you do? What else do you do? The issue with that is that Penrith, the team that have been the premier team for the past 5 years, they have lost a lot of people. It's not like they're abusing the salary cap by just keeping them.
I realise that.
They've lost so much cattle and they've still been good. You look at that 2021 team that won the premiership, it had quite a few nobodies in it, to be fair. So I'm not surprised that Penrith are doing as well as they are, even in a salary cap.
Their system, right? They always have a really, really good system there, and good luck to them. I just hope they don't win again.
You get sick of it?
I am getting sick of the same team winning.
Perfectly happy with the team greatness.
We've seen greatness already. 4 in a row is plenty. This is not the state of origin. We don't care. They
beat St. George.
They will not.
I don't think they will.
I think Melbourne do win this year. Still, I have
based on round 1 performances, Melbourne should be the outright favourites.
Yeah, I don't think it should be particularly close either. So,
round 1 performances say that the Broncos should be the favourites, but
no, because Melbourne won by more. Played better.
They were more structured.
They just looked better.
Brisbane tried some tricky stuff which came off, whereas Melbourne played proper football and it's still
how good's Jack Howard, man?
Oh, mate.
Those years that he spent languishing in reserve grade have really paid dividends.
He's got footwork, he's got ball playing, he's a big body.
He's a second rower.
Yeah.
He's got the speed of a winger in the second rower's body, and he's got
playing in the centres.
Ball skills. It's just, he is the perfect centre.
Yeah.
And I don't know how teams are going to stop him from getting just better and better. The sky's the limit for this guy.
He's a good player. Melbourne knows how to get the best out of players.
I would argue, even if Nash comes back, they're not at full strength. Because Stefano Utoikamanu still needs to acclimate to the system. As soon as he gets fully involved, what do you do? There's nothing you can do to stop these guys.
Yeah, I know.
I hate Melbourne. I respect the hell out of them, but I despise them.
Okay.
Which is fair.
2.
Moving on, round 2 team lists. A few changes for teams that got flogged, but we'll get into that. Knights Finns Thursday night. The only change for the Knights is that Adam Elliott comes onto the bench in place of Brody Jones. I think he had a niggling injury in.
Is that McDonald Jones?
Yeah, that's a McDonald Jones.
I do feel for the Dolphins because they lost their first home game.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the other one will be at home, but
Yeah, well, now, and I guess on the Dolphins side, they get Mark Nichols back, they get Cody Nikorima back, but they do lose both Finifuiaki and Lemuelu. Finifuiaki for, I think, only a week because of a head injury. Lemuelu has a fractured eye socket, so he'll be out for
that'll be at least 4 weeks. Yeah.
So Oren Keeley starts in the second row to pair with Max Platt.
Yeah, I think Knights in a close one, probably.
Yeah, Knights close, low scoring. That's going to be a lot of Knights victories
I'm
this year.
still believing in the Dolphins. I'm
And
tipping the Dolphins.
I think getting Nikorima back is massive for them.
yeah, he's their attacking linchpin.
It'll be close. I'm saying Dolphins 16 to 14 probably. It's going to be a close game.
I look at Nikorima and I see like Braden Trindle from the Sharks. Similar type players.
Excellent comparison. I love that one.
And because the number 6s aren't necessarily going great, Katoa's good, don't get me wrong. I thought he had a slow game last week. I think getting Nikorima back will free him up a bit more and he'll be able to do a bit more as well. So I am tipping the Knights simply because of McDonald Jones and they generally grow another leg there. So and
yeah, I think I trust the Newcastle forward pack slightly more. I think that whichever of Kai Pierce-Paul or Dylan Lucas marks up against Oren Keeley is going to have a pretty good day. Outside that, contain the hammer, and you've pretty much contained the Dolphins.
I think, look, Christian Wolf, he's a great coach.
He's a very good coach. He has a very tracked roster to deal with,
and he's trying to work through that. And look, he got pretty close last week, to be fair, and with a bit of luck, they could have won it, right? Yeah. But he'll be wanting an improvement still from his team.
Yeah, I'm tipping Knights, but it could go either way.
That's one of those flip of the coin.
Yeah, I think if it's a close grinding game, which I think it's going to be, Newcastle will come out on top. Yeah. But
stranger things have happened. I mean, the Dolphins could come out and absolutely blow them off the park for all we know. They've done that before. So yeah, but I think Knights in a close one.
Warriors Eagles. Manly by a cricket score. This is
New Zealand that is the only.
So it'll be a saving grace.
The last time the Warriors played Sea Eagles in New Zealand, it was a draw.
It's true. I think they've drawn like 2 years in a row.
I don't see that happening in this game. Manly are in red hot form,
especially because Andrew Webster's stuck with the same 17 that got blown off the park by the Raiders in Vegas. I get what he's trying to do with trying to build these combinations with Metcalf and Harris Tavita and these guys, but unfortunately, those two aren't going to do it for you. You're not paying Tanner Boyd the money you're paying him to sit New South Wales Cup. He needs to be in the team.
He needs to be the 7.
I think he should be the 7. Metcalf should be the 6. Harris Tavita's your 14. I think that should be the way they operate.
I think that would work a lot better than what they've got now. And I know this is something that people hate, but Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is a fullback. And that's where some of the issues are going to lie.
What do you do with that?
Well,
they don't really have any more wingers. Really, they're playing a fullback on the wing right now. They don't really have any. They're playing 2 fullbacks on the wings theoretically. So
Dallin.
Because
Dallin is a winger.
Dallin's dislocated his wrist, so he's out for a few more weeks. So they've got obviously Roger and Tane Tuapiki is the other winger. That back line is just.
Not all over the place. I think, yeah.
Manly by.
Despite
the fact that they lose Takeaho, I think, to some bone bruising on his knee. But, Sipley starts and they bring. Exactly. Yeah. So.
Okay, yeah. Manly by a bit. What's the one after that?
Cooks. By $1 billion. Good. This
I don't think numbers are going to go big enough to actually show how much this is going to be.
And especially because Brian Toto is back, which is terrifying. So they get Paul Alamonte moves to the centres, and Luke Garner is relegated to the bench. Liam Henry is sitting in the reserves, hopefully getting back from a shoulder complaint. So they're not even at full strength right now. Outside that, for the Roosters, you've got Victor Radley's out with a concussion.
Yeah.
So Celeste Fekete, who did play well last week, I think starts at lock, and former Eel Makahesi Makatoa comes onto the bench.
That's
Easy for you to say.
great names.
In terms of other players, Billy Smith is sitting in the reserves, I guess putting pressure on both Nwanga Nitawasi and Robert Toya. If he's going to come in, I think he replaces Marky Mark because Toya played too well last week.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Roosters can't beat Penrith at the best of times. This is the worst of times.
Yeah, they're going to lose by a lot.
Yeah, this is a Sisyphean task for the Roosters. Panthers, I think I put Panthers 38-4 or something.
I think that's very,
36.
That's being kind to the
that
Roosters.
is very kind to the Roosters.
Yeah.
I think the Panthers could.
I think we all
by 60.
universally agree that at least right now, I still think Penrith are better than Brisbane.
Yeah.
And Brisbane will keep on them.
Yeah, it's not.
This could be
not
anything.
very pretty for the Roosters for the first few rounds.
Dragons, Bunnies.
Dragons.
Pretty good rivalry, these two, Ad.
They do, but I think
Dragons is probably the fair pick.
yeah, I think the Bunnies they won last week, but it wasn't anything to write home about. The Dragons played really well on a losing side. I think the Dragons come out and it's at win,
Yeah.
arguably. So I think Dragons win and do it relatively comfortably. I don't think there's too much. Yeah.
In terms of team lists, obviously Ryan Couchman, the lazy boy, is out with his ACL, so Blake Laurie comes onto the bench. Oh no. And then for the Rabbits, so Tyrone Munro is sidelined with yet again another collarbone injury. So you get Fletcher Myers comes into the centres because Jack White is suspended, and they get debutant Bailey Bentley Hape, which is one of the best names I've ever heard, and he gets onto the wing. Humphreys, like we said before, has seemingly won the 7 spot for the time being. So Dragons, I guess.
Dragons
For the last game, which is a good sign.
I think they win and they win relatively comfortably. I've got them maybe by 14 points.
I think I have them, 26-14, so 12 points. I think it'll be just a pretty stock standard game. It'll be pretty boring.
But the Dragons have a little bit too much firepower for the.
Absolutely. I think Valentine Holmes could be in for a big game this week.
Yeah, I think he's going to another chance of getting points of the year.
He could be up there if the Dragons score enough, sure. Cowboys Sharks. Jeremiah Nanai dropped.
Thank goodness.
I love it. I really do.
Look,
For as much as lots of people will hate it because it's 900,000 a year sitting in your reserves. He's not playing up to scratch. He deserves to be in Q Cup. Kyle O'Donnell comes into the side.
he is a footballer's footballer. Yeah,
I think he'll be good.
he will be great, and I think, like we were saying before, if we don't see an improvement, look, I'm not expecting him to beat Sharks. I'm not, but if I can see an improvement, there may be some light at the end of the tunnel. We'll see where we go. If they get beaten by 50, then we know that there's something inherently wrong. You should not be losing by that much to any team in the NRL. I don't care.
Unfortunately, I'm erring on the side that the Cowboys are going to be pretty poor. I think a third team is going to be eliminated from premiership contention in 2 weeks.
I don't think they get beaten by 50.
I think they might. I just think Cronulla's forward pack is too good. And we saw that last year in the semi-final where Cronulla just ran over them in the first half. And their forward pack has gotten better.
And
So and the Cowboys forward pack has not changed. So I can't see a world.
if anything, it's got worse.
I just can't see a world where the Cowboys are competitive in this game. Especially with Taumalolo is still out. And
Well, there is
still out.
Is a little whisper that there's a possibility that he could jump into the side.
They might need him. Really.
They need another big body somewhere, right?
You
You
drop
can't just rely on Cohen Hess to come on and wreck house, you know.
Max played up here, we beat them.
Sure. Cool.
That's when they were
Right.
playing semi-decently,
Love
but
that.
this is the thing.
Cool. The Cowboys this year are not the Cowboys of last year. It's very 2023 Cowboys this year.
Like they start bad, they're good in the middle, and then they're bad at the end.
Yeah. Sharks 52-18 is my prediction.
Yeah, I
Sharks 48 to
personally don't think they make 50. I think, look,
I just think that
the
Brandon
Cowboys lose. Yeah, fair enough. I think they'll show a little bit more ticker, but
you're not going to take the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
You're an idiot.
I'm going to pick Cronulla probably by 10.
30 to 28.
You guys are far more optimistic.
I think the Cowboys improve. I think fact that Payton has showed that he will drop players if he needs to. Now that he's dropped, he's Nano, right, is probably the one that needed to probably go back and learn his trade again, right? I think that shows that he's not going to be shirking. I personally would have probably dropped our hooker because he was pretty ordinary.
I don't think Reece Robson's been too consistent for too long to do that, but I see where you're coming from.
He was pretty bad.
He was poor, but 90% of the team was
yeah.
I'm not drop everybody.
No, that's
The team is playing.
no. The hooker is
Well, I think
Hooker
is exempt because it's a running position and a tackling position. Robson was bad at both. If you're good at both of those, but the team is still bad, you'll stand out. Like Damien Cook the past couple of years.
Yeah.
No one questions how good he is.
No. And look, Robson last year had a breakout. He was great, but this first game he was just not there.
Yeah,
He was not there here. You could see, right? His passing game was poor, and that's one of his better parts of his game, right?
Here's the thing that I figured out is that people will say, "Oh, he's just waiting to go to the Roosters next year." If I race Robson and I look at the team he's on now and the Roosters, I'd be wanting to make the most of the opportunity I have right now because going there next year is a death sentence.
You're going to his old friend, Jack
That sentence only there for 1 year. He won't be there next year.
Probably going to retire, but that's it. We're talking to the Cowboys.
Sharks by a lot.
I think the Sharks win. I think the Cowboys show improvement from last week, but not enough.
Cowboys by
Not nearly enough. So we'll see how they go.
30 to 20.
Fucking hit piece of it at some point.
Raiders Broncos. Now this could be a good game.
It would have been a good game.
Tarpany was playing. Yeah.
Now that Tarpany's suspended, I just see Brisbane rolling over them. Unfortunately,
Which is sad because I think with Tarpany, the Canberra Raiders are a good team.
Yeah. Don't forget. So because Tarpany is suspended, they pushed Josh Papali'i to the starting role and bring British recruit Matty Nicholson onto the bench.
Oh wow, the British fellow in the
That's Raiders. What do you expect? And also Xavier Savage is suspended, so Albert Hopewadi comes onto the wing.
which is not the worst. I've seen worse players than him.
There's going to be a lot of moving towards whatever side he's not on this game, I reckon. In terms of the Broncos, it's the same 17. They weren't going to change anything.
After a win like that. Oh, the Broncos win, but
I think the Raiders have enough strike in attack that they can put up a bit of a fight, but I just think that, especially in like the latter half of the game, Brisbane will just kind of run away with it a bit. I've got them 30-16, if I think it's fair.
If Reece Walsh has a rocks game, then the Canberra team can probably do better.
Yeah,
Because he can do that.
I think there's just a lot that needs to go right for the Raiders to win this.
Yeah, I agree.
And all of it depends on Michael Maguire team, who's notoriously consistent most of the time, being inconsistent, which is a big if.
Yeah, and look, the Broncos deserve favouritism for the game. I think it'll be tougher than their game last week, obviously.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that might be a better stepping board for how they're going, but even then, you'll be able to throw out the argument that they're missing one of the best forwards in the competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Which doesn't help.
Brisbane are going to be top of the ladder for a while, possibly. Them, Melbourne and Penrith are just going to be blowing.
Manly are going to stay up there, and Cronulla will probably be up there as well.
See if there's a decent game between some of the. Okay, Melbourne and Penrith play next week, so that'll be a fun one.
Grand final rematch.
Grand final rematch. Now we've got a football rematch. Eels Tigers. Good old fashioned two-slinger.
The Tigers are going to win this.
Orange Bowl.
I don't know. I really don't know who to pick with this game.
I'm going to go with the Tigers because I saw more in them than I saw in the Eels.
To be fair, the Eels played Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, but the Tigers
You only play who's in front of you, right? So
only have like one star player, maybe two. Sharp and Honor.
Okay, they've got Copious Ball, they've got Dylan Lucas. I would also chuck in that conversation.
Yeah, I don't really.
Jacob Gaffney is very consistent.
They've got a few really good players.
Tyson Frizzell, I mean, it's good players there.
The Tigers probably have a bit more stuff.
I think the Tigers will win against the Eels. I think it'll be another low-scoring affair. It's probably going to be like 14-10.
Jason Riles has wasted no time pushing the panic button when it comes to his squad. So he's dropped Kelma Tuolangi for Sean Lane, who's back, which is nice. Yeah. He's brought Jordan Samrani to make his debut on the wing in place of Jake Tunga. And Kisione Katona from the Bulldogs comes onto the bench in place of Charlie Geimer, which I don't like because I like Charlie Geimer. He played well, I thought. Outside that, for the Tigers, Api Coruscant, Dream Buller, and Stafford Tower are all back in the fold, which is replacing Talon De Silva, Heath Mason, and Solomon.
I actually rate Stafford Tower. I think he's a very good player.
One towel when you came to Valentine Holmes.
Val's not the worst player. Stafford Tower made him look really away.
That game was bad.
Yeah.
We can ignore that game.
But the 2023 game.
Yes, that's the one. The Leichhardt massacre.
That was awful.
This, I think, has potential to go to Golden Point, but not for good reasons. This could be
He can't score points. Yeah.
the Titans-Tigers game from a few years ago that was just absolutely horrendous. I'm seeing potential for that here. Instant classic. Tigers by 2.
I think the Tigers win. Just. I've got them by 4. The last game.
Doggies Titans.
Tigers? Hang on.
Hard to say because
The Titans haven't played yet.
Dogs are good. I think the Dogs probably win. But
Just the one change for the Dogs with Josh Curran returning from suspension to replace Harry Hayes on the bench, which I hate because I love Harry Hayes. I think
Josh Curran is also very
Curran's good. I would argue you should drop Sam Hughes if you're going to drop anybody because I just think he's not been great. I think Harry Hayes has been better.
I know you rate the Gold Coast. I think the Dogs beat them.
Well, the Gold Coast have all of their cattle. They have everybody. Regan Campbell-Gillard is there. Brimson, Campbell, Keeney. They're all there. Tino is there.
So you tip the Titans.
I have tipped the Titans in, okay, caveat, if it's a high-scoring game, the Titans are going to win. If it's a low-scoring game, I think the Dogs have the edge because they're more built for that sort of game.
Right.
Exactly.
Look, but I just think they also have some good attacking weapons in the Dogs as well.
One thing that concerns me about the Titans is that David Fafita is still on the bench. Cleese Haas is the starting edge. That concerns me a bit.
Vita needs to work himself out. He's almost
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. You don't see the criticism for Nanai that David Fafita gets. And I don't get why. They're nearly on the same amount of money.
He's almost the same player.
They've got, you have a few of these players that will be really good in spurts but don't have the effort. Like Latrell Mitchell, who gets absolutely vilified for his playing style a lot of the time. But I would argue, and I talk about this a lot, Hamiso Tabuafido is the same. He's the same player as Latrell Mitchell, except faster.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get nearly the scrutiny that most of these players do. It's the same with Nanai and Fafita. Fafita's in the spotlight all the time. Nanai gets to avoid it maybe because he's up here,
I think that's the most
but
reason, right?
he's not. He hasn't performed since he signed that contract.
He needs to work himself out, and that's why he's been dropped quite often. But anyway, we're talking about the Titans. I think
I really like what the Titans are doing in the spine. I
I like their spine. I agree with you.
I love the Brimson Campbell combination. Okay, well, by extension, that means you don't like something about that forward pack. What don't you like?
Well, I'm glad Tino's back. That's a very big plus for them, obviously.
Yep.
Um,
You got Mo, who's an origin level forward.
he is, but he didn't really rate as well last year as he has.
He's had a down year, yes.
So there's another one of those. What happens to him? We don't know.
Well, that's healthy. They've got Jamin Jolliffe on the bench, who's also really good. I really like this Titans squad. I think that they have the capacity to score lots of points this year.
I agree with you.
I don't know if it's called Titans winning an upset or not. I haven't actually looked at the odds for this
I
game.
think it would be. I think the Dogs would deserve favoritism. It is. Is it at the Bulldogs?
It's at
Or is it?
at Raw. I think, or at Belmore.
Belmore might be harder.
Okay, I should be writing down where these games are actually
But it's in Belmore.
It is at Belmore.
That would even be harder for the Gold.
Okay, so the Bulldogs are $1.41 favourites and the Titans $2.92. I don't think it's that big a disparity.
I don't think so, but the fact that it's Belmore, I think that's their spiritual home, right? So
I will not disparage anybody from picking the Dogs in this.
Yeah.
I think there's a very good chance they win. I just like the Titans.
I know you're the Titans.
I call it a homer pick despite the fact I'm a Cowboys fan. I just like the Titans. I want them to be good at some point, okay? It has to
The
be.
Dolphins have always been the whipping boys of the NRL, right?
I
Whatever.
didn't know how different their past few years might have been if they win in that qualifying final against the Roosters. If they win that game, I think they're completely different right now. Patrick Herbert. Anyway, Titans in a close, high-scoring game, similar to the Dragons Dogs last week.
I think the Dogs just get there because I think they're a bit more battle hardened.
That's fair.
So we'll see how that pans out.
Have we all fair in tipping this week? I think I got 6.
I did not tip very well.
You did poorly. I don't know how well you did.
I tipped the Raiders.
I need to get like a spreadsheet going.
I will on attack.
I tipped the Sharks.
I got 6 last week.
I took the Raiders. I took the Sharks. What was the game?
I'll go back. I'll get a spreadsheet going.
Wait, what was the games? I need to check.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought I got.
You got 3?
I got 3.
I tipped the Broncos.
Yeah,
I'm going to get the tipping all the away
I tipped
teams.
the Raiders and the Sharks. So I got 2 so far. I tipped.
I thought you tipped the Warriors. No, you tipped Penrith. You tipped Penrith. You didn't tip Cronulla.
No, I tipped Cronulla.
I have to go
I
back.
tipped the Raiders.
I don't believe that you got
I tipped the Tigers.
right.
I
Got that wrong.
tipped the Fins.
Got that wrong.
I tipped the Dragons, I think.
Got that
I
wrong.
tipped the Cowboys on
Got that wrong.
So you got about the same.
I
number.
did.
Yeah, if you were as good as
You
he was,
got 3 or 4. So
there's a reason. There's a reason we aren't professionals when it comes to this.
we did our best, and this is what happens sometimes. We have bad weeks. I remember last year with tipping.
I got around.
I got a 0.
I think I also got a 0 last year.
Even the week after that, I got 7 or 8. It's just so last year was terrible for tipping. I don't think this year's going to be a lot
Well,
better.
it's just
for 5 teams.
It's Melbourne and
Brisbane / Cronulla.
yeah, Melbourne, Brisbane, Cronulla, maybe Manly, and don't tip against them for the whole year.
And then
Unless they're playing each other.
flip the odd coin and hope something gets you the right to the other ones. But yeah.
Like if the Dragons and Dogs play,
Well,
that's just.
The rest of the year is anything like round 1. This is going to be a not great year of football. Hopefully it picks up. I guess we'll see.
Yep. So we will see you
See
same time next
Same
week.
time next week. That sounds good to me.
Okay, have a great week, everyone.
Catch you guys.